Today, we will be discussing Bitzer's rhetorical situation and its application in the context of professional writing. Before diving in, it's important to understand what rhetoric is. Rhetoric can be described as purposeful and strategic communication intended to persuade an audience towards change. Now that we understand this term, we can effectively apply it to the rhetorical situation. The rhetorical situation is a framework used to understand how persuasive communication should be shaped by context. The rhetorical situation, as described by Bitzer, encompasses three main points: rhetorical exigence, rhetorical audience, and rhetorical constraints. Events such as natural disasters and random car crashes are problems that cannot be resolved or mitigated through rhetorical communication. Rhetorical exigence refers to a problem or topic that can be solved or mitigated through communication. Some examples might be adding seatbelts into cars to reduce injury, or filling your bathtub with water as a preventative measure before a natural disaster. The next point of the rhetorical situation is the rhetorical audience. This is an audience that is uniquely placed to be able to effectively implement and execute real change regarding the rhetorical exigence. For example, if I'm attempting to convince the federal government to invest in more nuclear facilities for power production, my target audience should be lawmakers and government officials uniquely positioned within the federal government to institute my request, not just ordinary American citizens. The last point we have to discuss is rhetorical constraints. This refers to anything that might limit the effectiveness of our persuasive rhetoric. This can include subjective constraints such as biases, ideology, motivations, as well as objective constraints such as existing data, case studies, regulations, or factual conditions that shape what arguments are persuasive. Together, these elements shape how effective communication should be designed. This allows us to develop effective communication strategies to better address the contents of the situation. Understanding the rhetorical situation allows us to apply these ideas to real-world professional communication. In professional environments, you will frequently need to sell yourself, your product, or your service. Recognizing the rhetorical situation provides a clear advantage by enabling communicators to more effectively reach and persuade their target audiences. This can include implementing ideas, selling products, innovating processes, and self-promotion. I'm going to use the example of a sales team member to apply what we have learned in a professional context. Let's assume this team member has been door knocking for a pest control company that sells a pest control service. Although his sales are strong, customers repeatedly ask for rodent control services the company does not offer. This team member might then want to write a persuasive letter to management asking them to add rodent prevention to their line of pest control services. To effectively write his letter, the sales team member would first have to identify his rhetorical audience, which is management. This will allow him to effectively appeal to their wants and needs. He will then need to identify the rhetorical exigence, which would be adding rodent pest control because of customer demand. And finally, he would need to think about any possible rhetorical constraints, such as management's predisposition against adding new services to the company's product line. This is just one of many professional contexts where understanding the rhetorical situation is extremely valuable. Thank you for watching my presentation on Bitzer's rhetorical situation and its application in professional environments.